So I ran across.
So this is Kova's Lookout. Kova's Lookout. This manga has bubs. I'm gonna say bubs. Action and life lessons. Okay, let's see.
This is manga by Felipe Smith. Smith, if you don't know, is a manga slash comic creator who created the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. He gained popularity with his semi-autobiographical manga MBQ. This series got him some attention from prominent booking agents out in Japan who helped him get a meeting with the editor-in-chief of Kodansha at the 2007 San Diego Comic-Con. This meeting resulted in Felipe Smith becoming one of, if not the first American manga creator to be published and serialized in Japan. The series he published through this deal is the manga I want to analyze and talk about today. That is Pipocho. Pipocho on the surface is a crude, goofy, perverted, and violent manga about a boy obsessed with a Pokemon analog anime titled Pipocho, who gets a chance to travel to Japan from the south side of Chicago. It reminds me of a early 2000s Adult Swim cartoon or a like Family Guy or South Park. After reading the first few chapters of the series, you'll realize that this series is a commentary on how people view the East versus how people view the West. It's about otaku and weeb culture and cultural appropriation overall. Lastly, it's about how learning cultures through popular media can be and is harmful. I'm going to talk to you about the two prominent characters in this series that fall into this category of cultural appropriation. This is Milton, the main character, and Morimoto Rockstar, who is like the main villain or antagonist. Milton is a kid from the south side of Chicago who lives in a boys' home in the ghetto. He doesn't feel like he fits in with his environment or the people who are in that environment. Milton camouflages his true self from the people around him because he fears that he will be ridiculed for showing his true self. See, Milton is an otaku, which is a Japanese word that describes people with consuming interests, particularly in anime, manga, video games, or computers. Milton is obsessed with the series Pipocho. Not just the series, he's also obsessed with the idea of going to Japan because he feels that the people in Japan are like the characters in Pipocho, that the people of Japan will be more like him and will be more accepting of his otaku ways. Long story short, Milton ends up going to Japan with a few other characters in this story. Shortly after being in Tokyo, Milton realizes that all the things he thought he knew about Japan were false and that the show Pipocho wasn't a smash hit in Japan and only in America. I find this funny because I feel like there are so many American manga and anime fans who are like this, that they think they know or can learn a culture through these cartoons or manga or comics. Hell, even when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of Naruto, Bleach, Fullmetal Alchemist, and I wanted to go to Japan because I felt like I had an understanding of Japanese culture. And when I saw these anime series, I perceived as what was reality, and so I thought if I go to Japan, this is what it was going to be, all anime and people running around doing crazy stuff and ninjas and all this other goofy stuff, just like Milton thought when he watched Pipocho, and he thought what he saw in the series was true. And I can sympathize with Milton feeling this way and why he's ingrained with this culture and world, because his own world isn't worth looking at. Like I said, he's in the ghetto, he's in the poor trenches of the south side of Chicago, so I wouldn't blame him for wanting to be in this world of mystic and magic and thinking that this medium brought from Japan is what it is like, because where he's from, it's desolate and horrible. So I don't blame him for wanting to separate himself from the realities of his own world, his own
No. When you do this, you're called white for some odd reason.
Environment and the people who are a part of that environment. Now let's look on the other side of the spectrum at Morimoto Rockstar, who was a regular guy that got turned out by the Yakuza, going from a timid kid to a ruthless asshole. Morimoto, after being put onto the Yakuza family, becomes obsessed with American culture, like American gangster movies, rap music, MTV, and such. Just like Milton, Morimoto is learning about American culture through popular media, evangelizing things that he's watching, thinking that this is how Americans and how America really is, wishing that he can go to America and hang out with all the rappers he's seen on TVs, buying the chains, he's wearing their clothing, he's throwing up the gang signs that he sees on the TV, doing the crip walks and all this other goofy shit that he's learning from YouTube and whatever. It's pretty funny. Unlike Milton, Morimoto is like one of those suburban kids who listens to like Bronx drill music and thinks they're a badass, who throws up O Block but has no idea about what O Block is, just listens to King Von or Little Durk and just thinks he knows what they're actually going through while living in a 5-bedroom home with both his parents at his house and goes to a private school. You know, it's crazy. Both of these characters are relying on pop culture from each of these countries to teach them about these cultures without actually doing real research on these cultures. I just like how this manga explores this concept of how that the things that you are watching is not what it actually seems. The Japanese or English you learn from these shows are more than likely not how the masses speak. Not everyone dresses with chains and cowboy hats like Morimoto assumes people do here in the States, and not everyone in Japan cosplays as their favorite anime characters like Milton thinks they do. These mindsets can empower people to believe in negative stereotypes that certain races of people are like this or known for that. This doesn't just happen internationally, this happens here in the States. I know people who have never been around black people to a certain age and thought very poorly about us, about black people. And these people live in the same cities as black people, might live down the street from a black person or a minority or a gay person or whatever, right? They might have somebody who they don't know who wasn't from the same culture as them next door, and they still have this weird disconnect from this person, right? So I can only imagine what the disconnect is from people from different parts of the world, you know? This manga also slightly touches on the idea of big corporations pushing these shows or movies and music to certain demographics with disingenuous perspectives of certain people for mere profit. In the manga, Milton is under the impression that Pipocho is the most popular show in Japan and that America was behind the cultural wave of Pipocho. But in reality, Pipocho was a huge flop in Japan and was cheaply bought by this corporation who knew how to market the series to the young otaku audience. It's just a huge commodification of culture. And this goes back to my Bronx drill music to the suburban white kids analogy earlier. Some people are just bored or dissatisfied with their lives and just want something different or what they presumed as better. It's okay to enjoy certain things from other cultures, but it gets tricky and problematic.
Who the hell is that? Who's that kid? I just realized. I just now looked at the screen. I saw that the first time. I thought that was like a B-roll example of what he was talking about. But I'm starting to realize that's an actual artist to a certain degree. Who the hell was that? I think he mentioned his name. What the hell?
When you start marginalizing people to a certain idea, concept, or stereotypes. If you are an otaku, you shouldn't just assume that what you see in Naruto things from commodification of culture. And this goes back to my Bronx drill music to the suburban white kids analogy earlier. Some people are just bored or dissatisfied.
Drillo. Bronx Drillo. Okay, we'll look at that in a little bit.
With their lives and just want something different or what they presumed as better. It's okay to enjoy certain things from other cultures, but it gets tricky and problematic when you start marginalizing people to a certain idea, concept, or stereotypes. If you are an otaku, you shouldn't just assume that what you see in Naruto is fact. Even though it may take influence from Japanese culture, it doesn't mean that everyone's just running around with their arms flailing behind their backs or throwing up random hand signs and wearing bright colors and spiky hair and all that stuff. You need to do your due diligence and get to know and learn about these people, and not just the people from these other countries, but you should learn the people who are in your own country, the people who are living right next to us. Like I said, there's people who are in America who don't even understand or know other people who live in America, and that's just crazy. So you should learn the person who's next to you. I just love this manga. I love the messaging that's behind it. I love the artwork. I love the story. I love how graphic and goofy it gets at times and how outlandish the characters are. And I also love the story of Felipe Smith, which I'm going to do a deep dive in Felipe Smith and how he became the first American serialized mangaka in Japan and his whole story. So be on the lookout for that video coming out probably a week after this video drops or so.
I love that he didn't say the first black. I love that because it's not about the skin color, it's about the drive of the individual. Yes, he might be. Yes, he pretty much is. He seems to be, but I don't know if he is. But like, if he is, nine times out of 10, he pretty much is. But like, I'm glad that he didn't make the skin color the main concern. It's the artist. It's the Arthur. He's an Arthur. He's an artist. He doesn't have to be a minority artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you separate yourself from that, you can actually be free of that stereotype, because that actually builds a stereotype if you believe it or not. But a lot of people don't like hearing that because it's as an attack on them, because they just need to be known because of their skin color or their orientation or some crap.
People Chose, it's a dope manga. You should go check it out. I really like these type of mangas that aren't part of like these like super popular genres that are like, it kind of reminds you of like a indie comic, like a Daniel Klaus or a like something in that vein, where it's kind of like a manga that is heavy on subject matter, but it's also like super, like I said, grotesque or goofy, perverted, but it's also just like it has a deeper meaning underlined with all that crazy stuff that's going on. And like, if you can see past all like the titties and ass that's in the manga, you can get the real message behind it. I think it's super dope. It's also dope that it's by an American manga creator. I wish the series was a little bit longer. I wish it got more books out of it, because I feel like there was more things that could have been spoken on from these characters. I mean, it ends kind of in a cliffhanger. If you read the third volume, it kind of ends with some of the main characters going to America. So I would have been interested to see what the Japanese characters and how they perceived America and what, you know, that would have been like. But, you know, who knows, maybe in the future Felipe would put out those chapters or whatever. Great manga. It took me a minute to find it. I think I got one issue off eBay and a couple of Amazon, I don't know. But I also have these stickers on sale right now. So if you guys will go and check them out, they're $5 a pop. High quality, awesome stickers. They're based off a shonen cover that I like. With my characters, this is Bam, The Last Hero on Earth. That's a comic series that I produced in 2023. Links in the bio. All free. You can read all the chapters free on my website. I appreciate you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
So this was this manga has, I mean, this is from Kova's Lookout, so thank you, Kova, for that. Like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment. It was an interesting video. Good video. I actually did enjoy that. That was intriguing nonetheless. And that great stuff. So hope the manga does well. For the Arthur, I forgot his name, I'm sorry, but I hope it does well. And I hope he makes more, and I hope it becomes something, and all that great stuff, and an inspiration for others to do their own, you know what I'm saying? So, that's awesome. So with that said, I'll see you guys next one.